I love that bit, Chiamaka. Anyways, thank you guys for joining. Everybody listening. Today I have Chiamaka Chinwendu and Sophia Okeke, who I've called Stephanie twice. I don't know why I've called Sophia Stephanie twice. But we have Sophia or Sophie with us, and we'll be having a conversation about DEI, that is diversity, equity, and inclusion in the Nigerian society and culture, and also in the Nigerian workplace. So, first of all, thank you guys. Let's say guys now, babes. I don't know.
It's fine. It's fine.
All right. So thank you. So yeah, we'll just start with a bit of introduction from two of you. Who are you? If they meet you in the street like this, like you're walking on the street and they say, "Stop you, Sophia and Chiamaka," and they say, "Who are you?" How will you respond?
Are you saying Chiamaka based on alphabetically or
I said Sophia and Chiamaka, so Chiamaka came last actually.
okay.
But you can start, Chiamaka. How will you respond? Somebody randomly said, who are you? How will you respond?
As much as that sounds like a straightforward question, I feel like it's a trick question.
Yeah.
Because whenever I hear it, right? Yes, because whenever I hear it, I want to respond without any titles, because that's essentially who you are, right? And so I'll describe myself as an amazing person. I have to say, give myself some credit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think.
Wait, did you say alone person?
Sorry?
What do you say, alone? Or what?
Amazing person.
Oh, amazing. Okay, all right. We love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love to see
it.
So, but I think beyond all of that, right, is I will describe myself as authentic, describe myself as pragmatic and inspiring young Nigerian lady, right? So that's how I'll describe who I am. But then if you wanted to go further than that, then we start to talk about all of the things that, sort of make me take, the things that I'm passionate about, youth inclusion, women inclusion, and leadership spaces.
Spill the beans, Chama.
She's trying to be humble.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm saying. Hey, what are you saying though? That's what I'm saying.
Don't be humble. Tell us.
My head.
But no. So if someone met me on the street, that's not what they don't have all that time.
Okay. Sorry. Now you're on podcast. How are you explaining?
Okay, now we want to know.
So I'll describe myself, like I already started saying, as authentic, as pragmatic, and as
amazing
inspiring Nigerian person, right? The things that I'm passionate about is education. Definitely is stops. I mean, these days we frame them, under the SDGs and stuff like that. But I'm very passionate about education. I'm passionate about women inclusion, youth inclusion, especially in leadership spaces. I mean, not necessarily in terms of positions, but just helping us to prep to take on leadership wherever it is that we find ourselves. I am also passionate about sustainability. By sustainability, I mean stuff around passing businesses to the next generation, that sort of thing, right? Having structure and then moving transgenerational stuff that I'm interested in. So I'll pause here so I'm looking at everybody else's time. Thank you.
Sophia, your turn.
Wow. Okay. All right. Okay. I'll describe myself. I won't be humble like Chiamaka because anyways, I would say you already know my name. And I am a very strong DEI advocate. Like I carry it on my shoulder. So I'm passionate about women equity. I said equity, not equality. Very important. I'm passionate about equity. I'm passionate about helping women and youth. And basically, I see people as let's say as a child. I think I discussed this with Chiamaka before. Like, when you give birth to a child and you see them grow. Like you are literally there invested in their life as to when they grow and what they become. So I'm passionate about people's development. Do you get? So I'm passionate about from the point when someone is recruited into an organization to the point where he decides to develop. I won't say where he decides to leave, because I don't believe in people exiting an organization. I believe in people deciding to develop or transition into a greater part of themselves. So I'm not that employer, or I won't be that employer that would be, oh, why are you leaving? Do you get? Rather, I would definitely want a system where I would support you to make sure you get to that next level that you want to be, whether it's in my company or not. So that's just basically me. Yes.
All right, excellent. Before we move ahead, there are standard questions that we ask for this introduction, which is basically like knowing the schools you attended. First of all, I want to know because
Okay.
if there's correlation between boarding schools and success or not,
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
So what schools do you guys go to from primary all the way to university? If you've gotten university education, or even after that.
Okay. I studied my BSc in University of Lagos, School of First Choice and Nation's Pride.
Okay.
I studied business administration, University of Lagos.
Mhm.
That was like yeah.
All right.
That's my highest qualification for now.
What about your secondary school?
Oh, secondary school. Okay, I went to a school called Leland International College.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my secondary school.
Was it a boarding or a day school?
It was a private school.
But was it body or day? Was it private body or
Oh,
private?
sorry, it was day.
Okay, all right, excellent. A lot of Lagos people go to day schools. I think compared to Abuja people, like you guys go more to day than. Anyways, that's another conversation. But Chiamaka,
That's the perception.
maybe.
Maybe. Everybody brings data. Do you have facts, Musa?
Sorry, it's based on the conversation I've
Exactly.
had on this podcast. Yes, I have facts based on my interviews with people on this podcast.
Okay. We'll have to check your sample.
Hey, SPPG students, voila.
I know. Getting to me, so if we go it all the way back, right, to my primary, so I grew up in Enugu. And so
Where
I
in
went,
Enugu?
um, we're in Enugu, one in Enugu.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead.
The way you paused me, like, I noticed it.
I like doing that. I love doing that, especially like for Anambra. Like Anambra people, I always ask them because I know Nwengi or what's the other place. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so going all the way back, I went to primary school in a school called One Nigerian Primary School. And so from there, I had two secondary schools, by the way. I transferred from the first. I did my junior school in a school in Aba, by the way. And then I did the latter parts, my SS1 to 3 in Queen's College in Lagos.
Wow.
Then from there, I did University of Abuja. My background is in economics, so University of Abuja. Then I had my master's in the University of Manchester, and my most recent education is the School of Policy, Politics, and Governance, where we met Musa. So I'm taking a break now.
You
Well
deserve,
deserved.
you
If you
deserve it.
Yes, so well deserved, actually.
All right. So thank you guys for that introduction, necessary as well. Before we start talking about day proper, right? I just want to get so for both of you, to you, how do you feel like being in Nigeria in the 21st century? As per na. What does it feel like being in Nigeria?
Are you shaking that table now?
It must be shuku. Well, that's Sophia.
Oh, why me? Okay. Being a Nigerian in the 21st century actually makes me like want to grow and learn new skills. Like there's so much to unlearn, there's so much to relearn, basically. I don't see what's happening now in Nigeria as something that cannot be leveraged upon. Do you understand? I mean, anywhere there's chaos, it means there's a problem that needs to be solved. Meaning there's an opportunity. Someone is trying to, find a solution to it. Do you get? So the thing of being Nigerian now means that I have to get myself, or I'm trying to get myself equipped with, skills, connections, and all of that I need to also make myself grow and be valuable at this time. So being in Nigerian 21st century means you have to be on top of your game. You have to do what you need to do so that you can be valuable, you can be a problem solver. If not, you'll be left behind, basically.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right, Chiamaka.
I'll say thanks for being that, optimistic, because I'm about to say being a Nigerian currently is draining.
Please.
Internally, I'll put it in two ways, right? So there's the internal side of being a Nigerian based on how we, right? Being a Nigerian is draining. I live in Abuja, for example. It's like you're in a landmine and you're scared to like step somewhere. You don't know where, you probably heard about last week, and all of the terror alarms, that we received and stuff like that. And that has been ongoing for nothing less than a month now, right? So yeah, so that alone is terrifying, right? Especially maybe the question that I'm responding to is being a Nigerian living in Nigeria, right? So that is going on, right? But I mean, I like what you say at the back of that, when you sit back, sort of look out at what Nigerians, are achieving and how our arts and our culture is shaping Africa and the world at large. It's inspiring, it's something to take pride in, it sort of like elevates your national sense of national pride, and stuff like that. And you feel like, and so it makes me think like, you know what, if we're that great everywhere else, this is the real God way for me, right? When are we all going to be great in our own homeland country? So that's what being in today.
All right. Thank you guys for that. And I think like you compliment yourselves in like being in Nigeria at the end of the day. Okay, so we're here to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion in Nigeria as a society and also in the workplace as both of you are working. So the first question I ask is basically on the concept itself, right? So diversity, equity, and then inclusion. For somebody that, that sounds like something they care nothing about, how you explain it?
I mean, I can go first. So diversity, equity, and inclusion to a Nigerian is something that we should all care about. I mean, for as long as I can remember, we've always talked about Nigeria having over 250. We don't know how many. We shall know it's over 250 ethnic groups. We sing that like a song, right? So that in itself, ethnicity in itself is a factor, right, of diversity. And so that is something that should concern us. And the reason why I say that is because I mean, for every time, even if we talk about, I'm going to now use this broadly before I sort of narrow in.
Yeah.
So when we started to hear about, when this current administration came in first in 2015, and the appointments started to, rally around a particular ethnic group, that was a big issue. And then folks started, so every other time we talk about federal character, where does it come in? So those contentions are always there. And look at even the upcoming 2023 elections. Everybody's going on about it's tribal, it's not. So it is something, right? It is something that should concern us, right? Because I mean, diversity just means that we're different people, we're different, beautiful in itself, but just different, right? There are men and women, there are people who come from different tribes. There are people who, our backgrounds are different. Some people are are living with disabilities, some visible, some not even visible. So there's just a difference in us, right? And there's a beauty in that diversity that we need to appreciate. Then speaking of equity is saying that, as Nigerians, the first thing that typically strikes us when equity is talked about is gender, right? Men, women. And if you're regular on Twitter, you will know that is bans that happens every other 2 market days.
Yes.
Right? Who remove plates, who eat, who wash, random stuff is always just like either fighting. People have gotten different titles as a result of that, right? And so equity is a conversation that is always staring us also in the face as Nigerians. And inclusion, of course, is like the outcome of respecting diversity and equity, right? The reaction to equity is that our policies should reflect the diversities that we have, should take into all those contexts, and give us and provide a leveling playing ground. Right. So that's in itself, all of that mixing together should make us feel like, or the outcome of it in a way is that we're all included. Right. The intention is that we're all included. All our voices, all our power, all our visions matter to contributing to everything, be it in the workplace, in the family, and stuff like that. So that's what it means to me as a Nigerian. So it's in our everyday facts of life. Yes, the voice of Africans and Nigerians have not been heard so much in this field, but the point is, it doesn't change the fact that it's a reality that we are living with, and we need to call it what it is and pay more attention to it. Thank you.
Sophia.
Okay. For me, DEI, diversity is as simple as basically what makes you unique as an individual. For example, I am a Nigerian. I am a daughter. I am an employee. I'm a sister. Do you understand? It's basically what makes you unique as a person, as an individual. Do you understand? It's as simple as that. Then equity is just like what Chiamaka said. Is basically when resources, are shared equally, not equally, sorry, when resources are actually given to you the way you deserve it. Do you understand? What I deserve is different from what you deserve. That's why I don't believe in equality. I believe more in equity. There's always this banter of, like what she said, men is better than women are better than men, or women should be given an equal table as men, blah, 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 stuff like that. Do you understand? So, but I believe that men and women are not equal. If I see 5 men here, 5 women here, they are not equal. If I see within those 5 men, they are still not equal. Do you understand? So it's basically giving people exactly what they deserve as an individual. The amount of work I might have put into getting to where I want to get or where I am, it's different from the amount of work you would put. Should they see us and say, because I'm a woman, I should also get exactly what they are giving to you because you're a man? I would say that because I didn't put in the amount of work that you did. Do you understand? So it's not going to be based on my gender. It's going to be based on exactly what I deserve, exactly with the amount of work I put in or what I have done. Do you get? That's basically equity for me. Then inclusion is the feeling of being heard, the feeling of being, included. When I know that I'm in a place and when I speak, I'm being listened to. I am not tossed aside. Do you get? So inclusion is basically the result of diversity and equity. It's basically what we are trying to attain. So yeah, that's what it is for me.
Okay.
So if I'll come back here, sorry, Sat, just let's say reframe in a sense.
Okay.
So like I said, I know that this banter is steady, on social, right, about
Yeah.
equality. But what I'll say to it is, I think that I don't think that there's anything wrong with equality, right, as it were, right? Because for me, my perception of it is that it's equality of access and opportunity. That's what there is standing for, right? That
Yeah.
you have access to economic opportunity, that you have equal access to leadership opportunity. Now, whether you're taking it or not now becomes a different point, right? So it's more from a point of equality of access and opportunity that equity is making
Okay.
policy such that everybody,
Okay.
regardless of your
Yeah.
gender, your race, ethnicity, right, that you are able to afford the same opportunities as other people. Like I said, the question now becomes: are you taking it or are you not taking it? Right. So we're all different. I think that's the fact that we've already established, right? Even biologically, right? By that right, we are already all different. So
Yeah.
what the advocacy is really is in for equity is that we all have equality of access and opportunity. And as we continue to push for that, the intention is that you remove the barriers that would have stopped,
You
people
from
saying
getting access.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's at the end of that's the end goal, if I'll put it that
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Let us camp here for a bit. Because this, is complex, right? Like trying to reason equality and equity.
way.
Yeah.
I can't
It's very, very complex. It's a lot.
yeah, I can't remember the name. There's a book. The author, right? Basically, what he stated was that if when it comes to this subject, he's British. If I remember the name, I'll spill it out. But like he's British, so what he said is that up to even 50% of who a person is transferred from their parents' genes, right? And so when we're actually looking at, so on both sides, now, Sophia spoke about deserving it, and then Chiamaka is like, okay, let's give equal access, and I'm trying to look at it. All right, deserve how, right? Equal access how? So because like me, for example, right, with I don't know, imagine I have two professional parents, right? Like my ability to understand things just genetically might be better than somebody's parents who was a
That's true.
right, uneducated farmer, for example, right, who has been on the field all their lives, right? So your ability to comprehend is different from my ability to comprehend. So when we're looking at diversity and equity, so on two strands, in the first strand, like there's the woman and man aspect, but then like the deeper layer of it in the sense that like even with equality to access, right? How do we factor in like people's advantages, if that makes sense, right? So your advantage of, like your parents' advantage, like your growing up advantage, right? How do you guys think we should handle this, especially when it comes to this topic of diversity and equity? Because especially in Nigeria, it is very real. Like some people just by being born to some certain parents, your life is like 50% settled already, as compared to other people that have to like struggle, even when you have equal access, and even when those people deserve it.
So I hope that if I could start, and Sophia, please feel free to chime in.
It's fine.
Um, so I hope that we're familiar. So there's a popular image that comes to mind, when we talk about equality, equity, and access. That one where everybody has the same box,
Mhm.
right? So that's like what equality is saying, right? That we all have the same boxes. Now, equity takes into account your height, and knowing that what you
Yeah.
cannot stand on the same pedestal. So
Exactly. I've seen that
transferring,
image.
yeah. So and that's in reality is what equity works towards. Is what it says. It's like saying, oh, because
Exactly.
calling anybody parent, I be child. Of
Mhm.
course, the access that I have in this world is multiple. Now, what equity is saying, and what we find like all of these programs that are gearing towards equity is people. That's why you hear a lot of people from disadvantaged backgrounds. Let's run a program for them that will be able to push them up to access those same
Yeah.
opportunities.
Exactly.
Will not be those same opportunities. It can only be similar because you're not born to my parents anyway, and all of those things. So natural factors will still apply. But the point of the matter is we want to live in a society, we want to work in an organization that pays attention to the various uniqueness that everybody is coming with, right? That is able to say, oh, this is this person's strength. Let's even be able to create an opportunity that allows this person to also grow as well. Don't feel, disadvantaged because of your background or something like that. Let's have something too for you, in a sense. I don't know if that comes across the way that I'm thinking it in my head.
I
So
understand. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, can I go ahead?
yes.
Yeah, I get what she's saying. Yeah, that's why I said like I dig more into equity because look, for example, the idea of the boxes. There are three boxes and there are three men. One is, a bit taller, one is a bit medium height, and the other average height, and the other is like short. So if they give the three of them equal boxes and they're trying to see above, there's a match going on and they're trying to see above them, they're trying to watch the match, and there's a fence covering them. So they gave the three of them equal boxes. Now, the short person, even with that box, will still not be able to see over the fence.
Mhm.
But the tall person will see way beyond the fence, and the average height person might just be peeping through the fence. Do you understand? So that's equality. They've given the three of them equal access. Do you understand? But yet, the idea is not still fulfilled. There's still no inclusion because the other short person can't barely see anything. The average height person is still trying to see, and the tall person doesn't even need the box. Do you understand? But then equity is saying, okay, give this person a box according to his or her own uniqueness.
Mhm.
The person that is really short will get a higher box so that he will be able to see over the fence. The average height person can get a medium-sized box so that he would comfortably see over the fence. While the tall person can get maybe a little fence so that he would still see regardless. Do you understand? You are not treating the tall person. He still feel included because he's still able to see. So I think that picture alone is explaining that, okay, I am not, let me just use the example of people coming for an interview because I'm a recruiter and I do interviews a lot. A lot of people are doing interviews. I see three people coming for an interview, and the three of them are well dressed for the interview, very well dressed for the interview. And then when I'm interviewing them, I've given the three of them, I've opened the door for three of them, meaning I've given the three of them access into the door. Do you get? But I've not given three of them the job. It's just one job. Then one comes to me and explains exactly what is every single thing to me. And the second person comes as well, and the third person. If, for example, they're like, let's say, two women and one man, then one woman is telling me something like, oh, she would really love this job, but she would not want to work physically as she has a child that she's working, that she has a child that she just gave birth to, and she wants the child to she still wants to work even with that child. And then the other person is telling me, oh, I can come to work fully and all of that. Putting all that sentiment, putting all that in play, yeah, I would have to first of all analyze if which of them is fit for the role. I'm not going to say because she's a mother and because I'm trying to give all of them equal this now. I'm not going to say because she's a mother, I'm going to give her the job or not. Do you get? I'm going to look at the three of them based on their uniqueness. If at the end of the day is the woman who is a mother that gets the job, then it's fine. Do you understand? I'm not going to include that. And although I could still, tweak the policies and say, because she has a child, let's put this into account. She's good for this job, but let's also put into account the fact that she has a child. And let's say she works hybrid, comes every Friday for reports and all of that. Do you understand? So that's me being that's not me being equal, because if I'm to be equal, every single one of them might either get the job or I'm going to look at every single one of them equally. Do you understand? But I'm seeing it from a way of, oh, she has passed the first stage, she has gotten to that stage. So I still have to, I mean, the policies have to go in line with each and every employee. Yet, yes, I know that it cannot be a one size fits all. Do you understand? One policy, one handbook cannot fit the whole organization. That's why I believe employers should know their employees. I feel like we'll get to that stage later in the conversation. But my whole idea of equality and equity is that people's needs should be specifically met according to their uniqueness.
Okay.
Not because I'm rich or I'm poor, or because I am, this or I'm that. Even if a disabled person comes to my organization to want to work, I will provide, if my company has the elaborate means of providing accommodation for the person, because I know he or she cannot be able to move to maybe go back that same day or something. Do you understand? I will do that if need be. Do you understand? So I'm not going to say everybody gets an accommodation.
Okay.
Do you get?
Sophia, this is interesting now because I saw Chiamaka smiling a lot of times as we were talking, but before Chiamaka talks, because I think she has something to say. So there's the business aspect, right? And then there's governance for me, right? And I'll give two examples on both sides. So when I say the business aspect, the ultimate purpose of business, right? Like a business is to get profit for the shareholders. Like everyone had said, use operations to get profit for shareholders, right? So shareholders at the end of the day, all they don't want to hear that,
anything. They just want their dividend.
I put money, I want money back, right? Basically, a rationalist and a very pure shrewd business and mindset.
Yes.
The purpose of a business is to get profit for shareholders. This is the business aspect, right? So, and just stating this, we realize the limitations, especially as regards what you said. I'll give another example. There's a book called Rethinking Citizenship by Maurice Rush. And he gave a case study of America. So, I mean, the whole premise of the book and the whole thesis, he was trying to question whether the whole concept of citizenship anyways is a valid thing, because you can have first class citizens and then second class citizens, right? His case study was in the US. This was, I think, in the 90s 60s or 70s, around the sexual revolution period in the United States. And basically what he explained was that, so I don't know if you guys know about the welfare state or just the concept of a welfare state, right? But he was talking about America's move to becoming a welfare state. And before I go deep into just this example, so the point is that and the question I want to pose to you guys is that when it comes to business and when it comes to government, how do because welfare states are theoretically good, but are pragmatically a chaotic thing at the end of the day, right? Going back to my example, so the United States, right, realized that there are people that are suffering the society in this context, right? According to his example, were Black people, colored people, right? Basically non-white people were bottom of the ladder, especially Black people, African Americans. And so what the government did was to create a welfare state, like a welfare package for people, and whereby you will basically up to certain metrics and criteria, right, you'll be eligible to be supported by the government. What happened at the end of the day? Well, several things happened. The first one is that they realized after a couple of years, right, that more teenage women, right, started becoming more pregnant. That was always a problem, right? But the dynamic they realized, first of all, was that since their focus at this beginning stage, right, was just to poke a bit what you guys have said, the early stage, right, was to include one, was to provide those baskets, as you said, right? They wanted to do that for women, right, who are children and were teenagers. But then they saw that by helping them, more people were looped into the system. So they had to take care of more people, right? What did that now do? Because the focus were on this particular set of women, the men were left out, right? And so the men now, according to family structure, the family structure now started dividing because the women did not, once the man was there and he was bringing money, they were out of the system, right? So they were not benefiting from the government aid anymore, right? Because the man was now contributing a bit more, right? So it broke down the family structure a bit in the United States, especially for those category of people, right? And ultimately, it's now created a loop for the government that it cannot escape because they can't just cancel it again. They have already started it. And by starting it, right, as I said, more people were looped into the system because they realized how the system worked. And nobody had the incentive to want to work hard. Because if the government is giving me, for example, $700, right, per month, because I have a child, and they're supporting me, right? Why will I really work to get $900? You understand? So working will give me $900, but not working, but being aided by the government will give me $700. So yeah, back to it in the sense that at the end of the day, governments get a lot of their taxes from businesses, like people, right? But business is one big thing. But business, at the end of the day, right, are in contrast, like a lot of businesses, we're seeing a lot of change, right? But the fundamental of business, right, tries to resist anything that would limit profits from coming in. So I've posed two things to you guys now. The government aspect and then the business aspect. Let's contextualize it in Nigeria now. And let's discuss. WAEC 100 marks. Chiamaka, do you want to start since
right? Is it something that you have jacked, now reach exam, you're not saying that, wow. You're not looking at, wow, this one is not easy, it's not syllabus. Oh, this one is not easy. It's not in the area of concentration. I mean, I wanted to react to something first. Since we're talking about government and stuff like that. I think the whole concept, of equality of opportunity and access is just saying, because you're Nigerian, for example, you should be able to access. That's it, right? You don't have to do anything extra. It doesn't have to be. It's that concept of where anybody can be anything or something, right? And think about it like equal opportunity employer, equal opportunity employer, that means that regardless of who you are, you can come. They come as you have that situation. So just wanted to let that conversation. Now coming to this one, think of that is that it's human beings that make policies, it's human beings that game systems. You understand? So like I come in, the tech person that designed your website is the tech person that can hack it. Standard, like no, but being real, that's just debate. Right? Agreeing again with you that welfare states, they are great on paper, they look good, and it's a question I also always ask myself in saying that, so what's not the intention of this type of thing, right? It's like saying your bus system works, why should you buy a car, right? But I think that those systems, that are trying out or have tried out this welfareism is because they latch onto that greed, right, in human beings that wants more, right? Because that 700, that just means that you're just looking for work that will give you that you work like 2,000 or 2,500 or one mad money, that you just you give them 700 and it's not bite you. Like assuming that 700 is your tax or something like that. So you just keep trying to, but then the funny thing again is that the taxes are progressive, so the higher you earn in those welfare states, at least the way I understand them, the higher you earn, the higher you are taxed, right? Now bringing it home to Nigeria, I think that the Nigerian situation, just like some of the questions that we used to ask when we were in class, I think that the Nigerian situation is not a textbook something. Let's just call it what do well. You cannot do even capitalism just to the full on extent that it is. Cannot in the reality of it. This is my personal opinion. Cannot work in its full glory. If you say there have been opinions about conditional cash transfers, and that's because maybe some of the infrastructure that we need to even in those countries that did this thing, they can even track. Maybe they have data. They're telling you that that teenage pregnancy has increased. Why we are today in Nigeria, we don't even know the number of teenage pregnant women as this way. Do you understand? So setting structure is not even on the ground. Which is again another thing about your policy introduction is like it's like change management, the change readiness. You have to ascertain change readiness. And which is why some of all these, foreign policies that have been brought in have not even applied and cannot apply because guess what? The context, the development, we always say that context is always different, right? The context is always different. Nigerian own context is not even welfare. We'll see, you just waste your money, And yes, there are people who are broke, and I know that. But a more sustainable way for us, as a country, is fixing the infrastructural issues that we have, so that people are able. So we are even building the databases, we are building the systems, we are building, because conditional cash transfer is not a sustainable way. You're just sending people 5K. Okay, inflation comes. That 5K turns to 1,000. What the hell? What are we talking about? Just the economy is not even strong enough. All of the bedrock things are not even there.
Mm.
So what exactly are we doing? What are we now doing? Let's not even just lie to ourselves. So what are we now doing? It sounds nice, but in reality, it's more sustainable for you to equip people, get people educated, help them to be able to convert their skills into, and then, it's like the conversation that we'll always continue to have around increasing that Nigeria revenue is not something. We have to increase the base. Hello, how many people are working? How many base do you really want to increase?
Mm.
Right? Unless you're going the indirect tax route, right?
Mhm.
But how many people? Do you understand? So when it's like saying this thing is empty, you now want to be fetching from hello, like it's it's unfair.
Mm.
Is how I'll put it for him, over from me. I'll leave the business questions to employer, our employer.
Yeah. All right, Sophia.
Hey,
Sophia, no where that
okay.
from.
Personally, I feel like okay. Personally, in the business aspect, I think the only way for in the business in Nigeria, let me bring it to Nigeria. So let me not talk foreign. So I think the only way for inclusive initiatives or policies can work is to first of all educate, like Chiamaka said. People need to be educated. A lot of people do not know so many things that they need to know
So when you
as
say kids,
Nigerians.
are you talking about like the business owners or who?
The two people, the employers and the employees need education. Two of them,
Mhm.
it's not only inclusion in an organization is not only an employer's job.
Mm.
It's not just a HR job.
Mhm.
We are not therapists.
Voila.
Neither are we counselors.
Voila. Oh.
So it's an education thing. I believe companies, employers, what employers can now let me talk about the employee side and the employer side separately. The employer side, the employers need, yes, they have a lot to do now, especially now in this new generation, the Gen Z and the millennials and the baby boomers in one space. Is a whole lot. Trust me, it's a whole lot. We have baby boomers who believe in coming to the office every day. Do you get? We have the Gen Zs and the millennials who believe in remote work. When we want to have meetings, the baby boomers will tell you we should have a round table meeting. Everybody should come to the office. Then the Gen Zs and millennials will be like, we can have it online. Why do we have to come to the office?
Mm.
Do you understand? All of these things. So it all boils down to education for me. The employers need to be educated on how to bring up initiatives or on how to engage their employees, on how to make employees feel satisfied, feel welcomed, feel like I am part of something, I am part of a goal. Do you understand? And the employees need to do their own part as well by empowering their fellow. The employees level is at the ground level by empowering their fellow employers. Like, I can't be in an organization where I see that one person is being bullied and I shy away because I'm like, I don't want to lose my salary. I don't want to do this. So before they will not say, oh, I'm the one that is the the mole in the organization. I'm the one that does this. Or do you understand? So a lot of bullying harassment happening in the organizations, and employees employees that see these things overlook it. Sometimes I don't blame them, sometimes I blame them. I can't blame them because there might have been a past situation where such thing happened. And why do you want to? And employers are trying to cover, build their own organization, cover their own image. Do you get? So most of them, sweep a lot of things under their feet. Employers, especially employers, need to be educated a lot about what to do. They need to come with initiatives. There has to be stations in organizations where they have that talk. Employers come down to talking to their employees about themselves, how they themselves started in their career, all of that. Everybody's wearing suit and tie every day, and it's like it's hard to talk to anybody now. I don't understand any the executives. And then the time where they say for networking sessions, I can't go there because there's a barricade stopping me from going there. Like, should I say like they're celebrities or something?
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? That alone is like you telling me, oh, it takes a lot to get, like, it's overwhelming for the person. I'm seeing it as, oh my god, this is the golden table. And before I get here, I have to do. I know sometimes some employers tell you have to do this and that, and do you get, like, it goes down to, I mean, a lot of people won't even bother with going so much to these events if in their own organization they have these sessions where the employers speak to their employees about how they decided in their own career. Like, I want to be able to relate and be like, are you serious? You were once here. Oh, that means I can actually get to this level because I am here. Like, in their glass ceilings, in their chairs, and employees are down there looking up like, oh, how do I get to the 16th floor? You get?
Yeah.
So it's a lot for them. We can go on and on and on about this. And I feel like, especially in the Nigerian companies, we have to do a lot. I know that a lot of companies these days just care about, they only care about, oh, you need to bring money to this organization. That's all we care about. Bring money to the organization. If you're not bringing money, I don't know what you're doing in this company. Okay. They're telling you once end is coming, the year is coming to an end. We've not done this, blah, blah, blah. Like you said, stakeholders are waiting for their money. But it is people that make up these employees. Do you understand? We need to learn to treat people better. We need to learn to treat ourselves better. Like,
Sophia, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay, because that's like my next question. So wait first. So I want us to do like an anatomy of the problem, right? So I love that you guys are coming like from two angles, so I can like swing around and ask questions on both sides. But anyways, so when it comes to like Nigerian day precisely, right? So as you have said, Chiamaka, with the problems of the welfare state, just dashing people money might not be a solution, especially like with inflation. The money might not even be relevant, right? And then Sophia, the high tables and like just the ladder and just how scary it might be for a lot of people. If I to if they in Nigeria was a human being and they're on a table, right, and we need to operate on them, what do you think? Like, where do you start from? Like, this person is dying, right, as a doctor, and you're trying to know like what's killing them. Like you're trying to look this body, like what's killing you? Like the person is shaking and the person just vibrating, like, and you're trying to find out what's killing them. Like for a day in Nigeria, like what do you think is killing Nigeria when it comes to this to this problem at the end of the day?
So I think that first of all, I think that there's an awareness problem,
Okay.
right?
that's it.
Like we started talking about in the beginning, is like we sometimes we think about it as a foreign concept, right? But then as much as you might think that it's foreignly originated, maybe in terms of terminology and how it's coined and all of that, and the literature exists in this space, it's the reality that every human society lives in. So I think that we should take cognizance and pay attention to the parts of it that affect us. Yes, we might not be dealing with issues of race, but we're dealing with strong issues of ethnicity, right? It's like a barring line. So I think that awareness, first of all, let's stop living in denial and know that this is something that is happening right up our shores. And this is, with everything in terms of just even that awareness that we are unique as individuals. People can want different. If I'll use a random example, women can decide that, you know what, they don't want kids, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's a choice, you know, but that's not even something that you can say out loud. You know. I'm not going to, like, one day, I'm coming from my reference on Twitter streets. I go there because I try to sense. I feel like sometimes we're living in a bubble where all proper, we're in our workplace, speaking English and all. But some days I just go there and sense the Nigerian person on the streets. And this guy went on and on about how, and so what if your woman says that, oh, she doesn't want to have children? Let's just even say because of her shape or something. I don't remember what it was he was talking about. And then the comments, I went like 10, 20 comments in. I was like, that's the end with that now. What are we doing here? Is it modeling we are doing here? Do you understand? You know, some of those like comments on how people don't even understand how intensive. You know, so even from an awareness point of view, in terms of that, I would say, you know, let's think about this thing as something that concerns us. We see it every election, whether it's religion, whether it's tribe. It comes up every time, and it doesn't have to be election time. Let's even just say we want to employ, and I would love to hear very much from our employer. You know, in terms of saying, you're even looking at this and saying, this one is my brother. Yeah, give him chance, type of thing. You know, so that happens, and then you sacrifice competence on an altar of that. Right, so that awareness and coming to terms with this exists in our society. It doesn't exist in the way that it exists every and anywhere else. We have our own issues that we're dealing with. Our culture is great, but we have issues, right? Crazy things are happening, and we have to be aware of those crazy things and, you know, deal with them. The second one for me is, I guess maybe still on a sub under awareness, is realizing that the issue of diversity, equity, and inclusion is beyond gender, right? There are so many things, you know, and especially again, persons living with disabilities. And I know, you know, at least we were in the same course together, and we heard different stories about people who have maybe children who are living with, you know, different all sorts of, and the sheer disrespect that they face in the society that we live in. Why? We're all human. Why can't we just be respectful of one another? Right. So they're not less of people, they're just different. Again, going to my point on difference, it's just difference, it's nothing else, right? So maybe I could split those into two, or I could answer those as one. But you know, just the surgery, the first cut is that let them know, you know, shine torchlights on these things. See that it exists. Let's stop thinking that it's something foreign. Some parts of it
They
exist.
die. They actually die. He's dying, you know. Okay. All right. What about you, Sophia? Nigeria is entering the ER emergency room and they are rushing them on a stroller. And you know, like Nigeria is day, and you're like, you know, trying to find out what's the problem. What's the problem? What do you think is the problem fundamentally?
Okay. Well, I feel like Chiamaka has said it all. Awareness is the biggest problem of Nigeria. Lack of awareness. You know, we think we know it all in this country. Honestly. And we run away from responsibilities. Because I'm sure some people already have the idea of it, but they are thinking, so I'm not the one that will not carry this country on my head and be like, for what purpose? For what use? Like, what's the gain? What's in for me? Do you understand? Everybody's thinking of what's in for them. Do you get? And also the awareness issue. Most people don't. A lot of people need trainings. You know, this DEI thing is mostly about education, and but that's the first and important step. Most Nigerian problems is that they lack the sense of some Nigerians lack sense of responsibility, and basically are not aware of how important this is in our country. They, like she said, they just think it's a foreign thing, like it's just something that happens in other countries. You know, we hear of other countries racism, you know, and all of that. But then we know that even Nigerians are even segregating to ourselves. You get? I mean, I'm Igbo, but I can tell you for free, my mom doesn't like Yoruba people. So you see, it's that every day I'm preaching and in her head it's like I'm just saying something, but she's not sharing it. Do you understand?
Mhm.
That's the thing. So it's down to ourselves. We don't and one, we're not so accepting of each other.
Mm.
Do you get? We're not really so, no matter how much you say it as, oh, I cannot do this person. I mean, let's get down to it. Be actually fumble at it. Do you understand? I mean, I'm not perfect in as much as I'm aware of the advice and all of that. There's sometimes where I'm embarrassed and I'm thinking to myself, Sophie, you shouldn't have done this, so you shouldn't have said this. Let me give you an example. I was sending a mail to someone. I was chatting with the person on WhatsApp. Well, and I didn't know she was a lady. Do you understand? So when I sent a mail, I wrote, "Dear sir." Oh, she came for me. Trust me. I didn't know she was a lady. She responded with, "Oh, Sophie, are you trying to say my superior is that I can't be the superior, my superior has to be a man?" Like it escalated so quickly. You understand? I mean, I'm like, oh, but I'm not. I mean, I'm like, I read it twice. I'm like, I'm confused. I had to go to WhatsApp. I had to call her on the phone. Like, I said hello, and then she replied. I said, "Oh, that I'm so sorry about that. That I didn't know you were a lady. We're just chatting, and I didn't know." She was like, "No problem." That she thought I knew, and then I was just subconsciously saying because the person is, the manager, it has to be a man. I'm like, if you know me, I used to carry women matter on my head. I cannot, no, I cannot not see a lady and not want to elevate her or empower her. that was how it ended. Do you understand? So I mean, I made that mistake and it was very glaring. Do you understand? So it's just down to that. We accepting of each other, we being aware that this thing exists, and it's also beyond gender, it's also our ethnicity, down to marriage. Some of us will say, "Oh, we can't marry an outside person, God forbid bad thing. I don't want to die. I don't want Boko Haram to come and carry. She's not come and carry me and they'll say I should be wearing the job every day."
Mm.
And some of us are even down to, even if you don't want, even if you say you don't want to marry an outside person. I mean, everybody have preferences. Some say they can't even make friends with them. Do you get?
So I wanted I should have asked this as we begin to round up. When was the first time that you were conscious? So maybe like now, obviously not knowing the time before, probably. But when was the first time that you were conscious that you were a different kind of Nigerian to another Nigerian? Like that, like there was diversity. Like I am like, okay, the question for you guys probably, when was the first time you realized maybe you were Igbo? Or when was the first time you realized that I'm a woman? Like, I like there's a man, or like I'm Igbo, and then I don't know, there's Ibibio, and then when was the first time that you were conscious, right? Because it's the other that makes us conscious of like ourselves sometimes.
I would say my first consciousness was so my parents have always had this principle of going out. By going out I mean, so there's an Igbo adage that losing translates to, you don't sit in one place to watch the masquerade, right? So essentially translated would mean that, you have to see life from everywhere, right? So they had that perspective. So from boarding school, my first school was a boarding school, having to go out, but then it was still in the southeast. So pretty much everybody spoke Igbo.
Mhm.
I mean, English, of course, is our language of learning, but every other person spoke Igbo. So big deal, nothing funky about that.
Mhm.
Then on newspapers, when I started to become aware, it was like on newspapers, I would see. So at first, before I came to Lagos, I didn't even know that Edo, like there could be Edo Muslims, for example, or
Mm.
that Yorubas were Muslims also. I thought like, oh, it was like crystal clear, like it was cost. It was like, oh, if you're in the north, you're a Muslim, and then if you were
I
in
did too.
the south,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that what, guys, do this is how this thing is shared. So I yes, and so till I got to Lagos, I am in Queen's College being the school that it is, with diverse everybody, in melting pots, everybody being there. And in fact, too many differences, right? And shocks of my life, So I think that for me was the first consciousness in terms of how I started to feel it. Like just saying, these people, because we now, people used to, there was not a rave about it. So we have, during our SS2, we have like acculturation, where you go to your different, so the northerners or the Hausa inclined people will go to Kano, and then there was the Betimodu, and there was Aba, for the, so from that time it became an Igbo girls thing. And so with Igbo girls, of course, it wasn't just Igbo girls, it was every other person girls. The people in the south to sort of joined us. And there were even Igbo girls who joined the Yoruba people to go for acculturation. Right? There were other, everybody, the important thing is that you're going for one acculturation. Right? And so that was my first feeling of difference. Right? That in this Nigeria, there are just so many of us. And it's jammed beautifully, the mixture of all of that's coming together, everybody bringing in the beauties of the cultures that they represented, was sort of, missing. It was beautiful. It was an eye-opening experience for me, definitely. Because I'm like, wow, the Yoruba people are Muslim. I think that was my biggest shock. The Yoruba people are Muslim. Wow, I didn't even know that. Because I'm trying to read the names, and I'm not there wearing hijab. No, it's wrong. At some point, when I started to work, I met some people Muslim. When I was 7, I'm like, that's not even right.
Igbo Muslims.
You are shocked. Can you see? Yes.
Are you whining?
I'm not worried at all. I met one, and apparently there's more there are more of them in Ebonyi State too as well. So there's all of these things exist.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, shocked, but yeah, it happened. So that was my first feeling of difference as Nigerian.
We re-ask the question, I'm shook. All right, Sophia.
Okay. For me, it was definitely NYSC for me. Camp showed me people. Like I saw people. Like although when I was in school, it was not that deep in school because we just used to see it at Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, or Edo, Calabar, the states, and I didn't know that there were also Christians and Muslims in each of these places. Do you understand? But it was camp for me. Camp made me realize that there are really people that are in one state. You can find so many tribes. Do you get? I met a lot of people in camp. I got to discuss with a lot of people in camp, and I like to talk to people. So we could just sit down and be talking, and then she's like, she's Yoruba, and I'm like, oh yeah, obviously. And she's like, how is it obvious that she's this? She now gives me like another perspective of her own kind of Yoruba, and I'm like, are you serious? How is that possible? When do you get? So camp was the time for me when I was first conscious about different people. So I started becoming, interested in wanting to know more about other people's tribe and all of that. So when I started working, I had to recruit different set of people, and I see their documentation and I see their tribe, their state. Like I've heard tribes, and I'm like, really? so that was it for me.
Okay, interesting. I think like two very interesting and very, if you allow me, Nigerian settings, right? Boarding school is a deep Nigerian thing. Not just Nigeria, obviously, but like popular, and NYSC. So that means NYSC has worked for you. Like the purpose of NYSC has attested.
Yeah, it did. I made sure I made good use of that NYSC.
Obasanjo, if you hear this, well done. Your plan. All right. So getting to the last question now. First of all, you guys spoke about awareness. You guys spoke about the need to obviously like bring employers and employees together to understand the problem. If you were to say, start with this one first, right? Like you were to go. Chiamaka, I want you to answer like non-business side, maybe cultural, societal. And then like for Sophia, like for managers, since you're hiring, you're a day recruiter. Like, what is one thing that you advise somebody to start with first? Like, just start with this. Every other thing can wait, but like this one, when it comes to this topic, like start with it first. What would you advise people to do?
See Nigerians, Nigerians. So yes, I think it's a mindset thing.
Okay.
And the truth is, we have a history. Unfortunately, so history was sort of like, jettisoned and then brought back, maybe because the damage is now being seen like we messed up, by taking it out of our curriculum. But yes, the knowledge of our history, I think, is really, really important. Leaning in or just on, Sophia as an example. There are reasons why, there are possible reasons why, her mom has that feeling, towards another tribe, right? And it might be based on our history, right? And I say this because I think it was 2-3 years ago, I think it was maybe in 2018, that I watched a documentary on the Civil War, right? And everybody left that place so morose and all of that sad. So it's done by, no, I don't remember, Center for Memories, yeah, their name. I think they now have it on YouTube, so you can check it out too as well. Right? It's the documentary full on, maybe 2 hour 1+ hour, 2 hours documentary on the Nigerian Biafra Civil War. So sometimes too, it's a question of unpacking our history. Some of those things just come from stereotypes that we have. You're like, no, that's the way those people behave. So my first advice is a mindset thing. See people as people, period. See Nigerians as Nigerians, right? But then we have all of these baggage that we're coming from, that we have not healed from. And so it's sitting deep. And we carry it everywhere we go. We carry it to our religious spaces. We carry it to our workplaces. That's even the bad thing about it. It's not just with us in our homes, or maybe events when we go out. We carry it with us to religious spaces. And we don't start poking fingers at them. Don't mind them. That choir leader, it's from this place. That's how they behave. Don't just mind it. Yes, it's a very interesting thing. Don't just mind it. That's how they are, Jerry. Anything I can say now. Okay. No, even just they can do those ones, they cannot sacrifice for you.
Nothing. Just thinking.
It's like Chiamaka has been a lot of conversations like this. She has listened to.
No, I watched in fact I even still watch my interview today. I don't remember the artist that he was. And he was like, they even asked him clearly, Yoruba girls or Igbo girls, and he was like, no, Yoruba girls or Igbo girls are too wicked. Like straight up. Straight up. It's like
I'm thinking Yoruba girls are wicked, Igbo girls are sweet.
The guy was like, Yoruba girls are wicked, but girls they still like money and not get that kind of thing.
That what this is.
So there are just stereotypes that we're living with. I know that sometimes it's banned, but some other people are not taking it as banned.
Yes.
And so we should actually pay attention to things and see people as people. And be sensitive. So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is let's be sensitive about the comments, how we just loosely use words. Yes, when both Chadwick died, everybody's going on and on about, be kind, be kind, be kind. Did he even reach one market day? All the unkindness on the
They unbottled it back.
Do you understand? Everything just fought. You said, you understand? So all the violence starts to come out. So like, this thing is up to that. You understand? So for me, I think it's just that. And it doesn't necessarily just apply to Nigerian society. It could even be broader. And I can give you a clear example of what I even mean by that. I think at one time I'd experienced a situation where there was an opportunity that I was being considered for work in one of my former workplaces. And so they threw it out to me and were like, oh, that would I be interested in, I think it was going to another country or something. For an assignment, or maybe it was going to be 2 months. And so the person just said it flippantly to me. It's not even the flippancy of the saying that it's going to make it that made me angry. It was the fact that at the end of that, So someone else was passing when he said it. Like, so it was like, oh, you want to think about it. You don't have anyone that you're thinking about it with now. It's not like you're married to anything. You get,
Oh, wow.
it's just, I'm like, excuse. So it was the other the woman that was passing by that came to my defense. I was like, how can you even say that? She has people in her life, she doesn't have parents at least. They didn't just vomit her.
Yeah, she's an upstander. That's what we call them, upstanders.
So it doesn't even, so Nigerians are different in the type of comments that they make. And you know, it's just unnecessary. Sometimes it's not sometimes. Half the time it's unnecessary because it's what, like, is it connected to the work I'm about to do?
Exactly.
So it really does that. I'm going back to just wrapping up. See people as people, and just be kind in the type of, in how we express. It's the circumstances are even too much. I have a colleague that even just told me recently. So he's black, right? But then he's dual citizenship, right? He's a dual citizen, and then he goes to this place. This Caucasian person sees him. This is happening in Nigeria. This Caucasian person sees him and asks him, "Can you? Is this where the wine is?" Do you understand that type of thing? You're like, whatever happened to, do you work here? Start with as an opening question. Don't just assume. Like, yeah, I'll just end there because I can go on and on. I'm just like, that's not even right.
Like, I can
breathe, then say something. Don't just open your mouth and be talking.
Chiamaka, it's like you have like acres of land on the country of Twitter. Like, yeah.
She's a Twitter ambassador.
So I don't even, like, funny thing, I just go there to observe. So that's like my social experiment. Because I feel like Instagrammers, forgive me for Instagrammers are too happy. It's not, if you know,
it seems like a perfect app, right?
Everybody's so wow,
do you get
wow, go ahead.
I mean, but like Twitter is like like me. I don't have Twitter. Like, I don't have personal Twitter. I don't have Twitter at all. Right. But like when I had Twitter, I was just like, why now? Like, I think some people say some things, right, that in real life they can't even see. So I'm like, why?
They can't say.
So I'm like, what's the point? What is moving you to do this kind of thing in the first? I will enter to Twitter is a whole podcast. But yeah.
Yeah. Reason why I said, that kindness, we should always, just be kind, considerate. If you don't have, there's that golden this thing of, if you don't have anything to say, you can just keep quiet. When you gather your thoughts in a good way, like, people just like flip and think, and like you said, it's stuff that they cannot even say. I'm sure you're thinking, how does this concern diversity, but it does, because we are human beings in the first place, right? And we should respect one another. We should respect everybody's diversity. We should respect everybody's opinions, right? That is what it means to be diverse, so that people feel safe enough to bring up of their diversity. Right. So I'll just end here. Okay.
All right. Sophia.
Okay. Yeah. Personally, the first thing I think people I should speak in the aspect of
recruitment
managers in the company. Okay, yeah. So the first thing I believe the company should do is to have a training on unconscious bias. That's like, to me, the first step of them. It's like an unwinding session where people find out their unconscious biases. There are different unconscious biases. I think I had a class on that one time last month. Like, people need to know, a lot of people have these biases and they don't feel like it's a bias. To them, they just see that it's just them expressing themselves, like Chiamaka said. They're just saying their mind. Do you understand? Do you get?
Gas, then
But it's
gas.
but it's a bias. It's you. How can you be telling me because I'm an Igbo person? Okay, I like money. So you white people don't like money. That way you're telling me. So you white people like to suffer. It's maybe people like that like to enjoy life.
Mm.
Do you understand? So it's a bias. There should be sessions where organizations give just 1 hour. It could be it could be every Friday.
Mhm.
On a lighter note, everybody just sits down and discuss about these things. Discuss about their perceptions or their stereotypes of people, and at that moment they are being corrected. Do you get? And then different once people feel like they're in a safe haven or in a safe space, they are able to tell you about themselves. Once I am in a safe haven, when everybody's talking about, okay, this is what I used to think, and then someone's like, oh no, this is not it, this is what it should be. Do you get? It's education, it's unwinding, it's basically a time where we feel like we get to know more. Do you get? Like, I'm not going outside the game because what I'm learning there, it's going to affect me in my life too, because I'm not leaving the company and going home and then insulting the next sister beside me because of who she is. From those sessions, I'm learning more about people's tribe, people's culture and all of that. And I believe learning that also makes you feel like you can accept them. Do you get? Once you are aware of people and their different, and their differences, you see the beauty in them. We Nigerians, we like this thing where we see somebody that is like us.
Yeah.
We are comfortable, we are happy. We not join hands together and be treating the other person that is not like us separately, because we are not aware of who they are in the first place. So
Ghanaian.
like the issue she said about the black person, that she said they told him where is the one, never asked him if this is where he works. Like, I don't understand. Am I supposed to be a slave? I don't get it. I mean, there are black people doing. In fact, I feel like anywhere black people go, they do great things. That's just what I think, Vesta. So I'm always happy when I see one post on anywhere, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and you see one black person doing one amazing thing. Like, I'm really happy now about this UK Prime Minister, even though he's not a black person, but like, he's someone that is not a British. So it's like, I'm happy. You understand? So it's the thing of, we need to accept ourselves. Actually, we need to accept each other for who we are. Personally, like she said, accept your Nigerian people. We don't accept each other, and we are going out shouting that they don't accept us outside. Do we accept each other here where we are in our own coven? Do we? No, we don't. So we should actually be kind to each other. We should be careful of the kind of things we say to people. You don't know what somebody is carrying on her head, on his head, coming to the office. He's thinking of so many things he has to do. Taxes, house rent he has to pay. See, now I'm hearing that landlords are increasing house rent, and there's not they're adding anything on top of the building. No. I don't know. And somebody will come to the office very and thinking of how he will try and make money too, and then another person will not come and be putting sand in my own garden and be telling me what I'm going to do, and me, I will not say something that will offend you, and that's how fight is to start in organizations. It was another fight will happen, and then you will not come to the HR table and say, this is what this person said. It's because even the employers themselves are not, they don't know their employees. So employers don't know the names of their employees. They don't know the name of that. In fact, if they see them outside, they might not even know. Like I said, they're in their 16th floor. I want to shake their table. They're in their 16th floor. And then the employees are in the ground floor or in the middle floor. But, they don't know so much. You understand? Like, it's as simple as when I go to the guy, say, oh, how are you? How was your weekend? Are you fine? And that goes a long way for somebody. Anywhere, it doesn't have to be anywhere you go to. Like, be nice to people. Even when you enter buses or that's fire or whatever, be nice to people. People are going through a lot, and now in this time, like, you can't be the one making things worse for me. I'm thinking of how to make my life better, and you're here coming to, make me feel worse about what is already happening.
Yeah.
So one thing Nigerians should do is as simple as be nice to each other. Have that courtesy, be accepting of people. It's that simple. Employers should do a lot. Employers have a lot to do, I'm telling you, because employees will see it as the employees are seen it as I'm like going to this. I'm going to this company now like this. I'm going to enter this place today. I'm spending 8 hours here, and I'm tired. I don't know what else to do. I have no choice because I have to pay my bills. No, see, majority of people in organizations are working there because they have to pay their bills, not because they enjoy working in that place. And employers don't care these days. So some of them don't even care. The important thing is do your work. Let's do this business and get out of here. Do you understand? They should be more caring. They should care more about their employees. Those how are you will not kill you. How are you? Are you fine? Is everything okay? Okay, that's fine. You can go back to the 16th floor. Do you understand? So is that simple? Come down from that chair, and come down and let people know that there's a place for them at the table. So that's just what I can say.
All right. Very, very interesting.
It's going to feel like a real place.
Eh?
So this 16th floor is beginning to feel like a real place.
It's a real place, so
it's coming in my mind already. I don't know about Richie Sunak. I don't know if Tories were getting about British prime ministers. But wonderful conversation. I think what I learned, especially like now as you guys spoke, in the sense that history gone is important. Unconscious bias is very important, right? And like learning these two things, as you guys have proposed principally, I think is key at the end of the day, right? And I don't know, for the both sides, probably listen to this, I don't know, yeah. Tomorrow you'll be doing senator or you'll be doing governor for us, right? Like just put history back. Like history, but intentional history. I think like, for example, I think Nigerians are very scared to talk about civil war. And I don't understand why. Civil war is a very, very let's not talk.
Sensitive topic.
Yeah, but I think like we have to get to the it happened. I mean, let's talk about it, right? If you want to move forward, let's talk about it at the end of the day. And for 16th floor employers to also the same higher hellos as Sophia has said. So for you guys, do you want to say like last words, maybe like in regards to the kind of future you want to see for Nigeria and the kind of like country you want to have, basically?
I'll let Sophie go first.
Okay, like I said, I look forward to a future where people are accepting of people. It's as simple as that. It's people that make a country, it's people that make a nation. It's not just a building, it's people. Do you understand? There's so much that if each person starts to empower and change their mindset about things, it creates a lot of change for a group of people. You understand? If that one person takes the initiative to do that, then every other person feels like, oh, okay, this can be possible. Do you understand? So that's why I understand now a lot of people have lost, hope and faith and lost every single thing. Some people just want to jump us, some people just want to, just be doing something for yourself. Forget any other person. Do you understand? Nobody in Nigeria now, everybody just. So I feel like it's just that one person. It can be you, it can be anybody. Like people just have to learn to accept each other. I mean, now we need each other more than ever. I mean, I want to go to the office and feel happy in my little table, in my little space. Do you understand? I want to come back home and rest. I don't want my employer to call me by 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. for work when I'm supposed to be doing my other responsibilities. Do you understand? So it's the same thing as accepting of people and respecting people. Do you understand? So respecting that people have, first of all, accepting people as regards their tribe, their ethnicity, their race, their gender, and what have you. And also accepting that people have other people are more than your employee. People are more than I'm more than a daughter. I am more than an employee. I am more than just one thing that you see me as. Do you understand? So if you can accept that, then we can definitely rapport. if you can accept the fact that I am this person, I am a Muslim, I can be a Muslim, I can be a Christian. If you accept that, then we can know each other better. And knowing each other changes my mindset about who you are. Do you understand? Changes my mindset about what you can bring to the table, And the gender thing too. I want to see a future where a man and a woman goes for an interview. And I told Chiamaka this last time we spoke. And the man and they asked the man, oh, tell me how this company, how you were able to bring this company from $0 to $100,000. And they asked the woman, oh, tell me, how are you able to cope being a mother and a husband? How are you coping with your job doing that? Why can't you ask me how I brought the company from this to this? Because I actually did. Do you understand? So it's perception actually. So that's just it. People need to be aware. People need to be more conscious of their biases. If you are conscious of your biases, you'll be able to know how to contain it. If I'm conscious of the fact that I know that this person is this or this is this, I know how to react, and that alone is changing my perception, it's changing my mindset, it's changing as I move forward, and the way I see things are actually changing. Imagine if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hundreds of people start to do that. I mean, things are definitely going to change. It starts with people. It's not rocket science. It's people. And it's not something that happens one day. Some people feel they can just do this one day and I've done this, or employers will write, I'm an equal employer. I feel like I have a beef with somebody. I see that in a lot, but I don't just say because you write it, that means you're an equal employer. Is to me, I just see them write of the foreign language until after we pass this stage and I come to your organization and I see the culture in your organization. Do you understand? Because everybody puts, I'm an equal employer, I accept this. It's very sweet to write. So that's just it actually.
Thank you, Sophie. Okay, Chiamaka.
Thank you. So first things first, I think I just want to say thank you for curating this conversation. And yeah, like we're saying. So for me, I think regardless of whatever it is that you find as you unfold your culture, right? In terms of when you talk about ethnicity or talk about persons living with disabilities, whatever biases that you're coming from anywhere, people will respect. It's just as simple as that. I mean, it sounds simple, but in reality, not necessarily. There's people respect, whether you know what they're going through or not. They cannot tell you because they are not there, like you're not their family member anyway. So, but I think that if you apply that to the general, that whole treat people the way you want to be treated. I think that that should pretty much, and I used to say this to one of my former colleagues. Something as Simon Sinek said, be the leader that you wish that you had. So I think that principle pretty much works all around as I think about it. So for me, what would I like to see? I'd like to see a Nigeria that in treating people with respect, we unleash all the beauty in our diversity, right? Because there is so much beauty in it, but we've weaponized it as it is, right? There's definitely something that that I don't. We can all just even sitting across this room. And when I say diversity, I'm talking age, I'm talking religion, stuff, every facet of that diversity, gender included. Like there's something that we know that we can learn from one another, right? As opposed to all of these bands. So just seeing in Nigeria and in world in general, where all of that diversity gives us, beauty that it was supposed to give anyway. Like it should be given what it needs to be given. And then in response to the earlier question, when we're talking about, or tying the second part that I want to say to the earlier question on, how it feels to be Nigerian in this time. For me, the Nigeria I would want to see is, personally, I think that Nigeria's problem is a project management problem. I don't think it's a question of, we don't know what our problem is. I mean, those are there, but fundamentally, in recent times, I think maybe for me to going away from or coming off SPG is just our thoughts that, see, if we can even coordinate this thing, I was saying to someone, I'm not even looking for a system that is 1000% or is perfect. It's decent. Can it be functioning? Can we start from there? Right. So for me, is in Nigeria where, as a people, right, citizens are empowered enough with knowledge, with the skills, with the tools, with the voice. Because some people, you shy away from saying some of these things. With the voice, for responsibility and accountability. We need to take responsibility for our country, and we need to hold our leaders accountable. And when we are leaders, we need to also be accountable and be responsible. So, and it's not a function. And when I speak of leadership, I'm not talking about it as a role. Like, I'm not talking about it as a position. I'm talking about it as something that you do. For example, you are leading this conversation. Do you know what I mean? So, wherever it is that you find yourself, because the leadership deficit in Nigeria, it's not just politics, it's in every sphere, everything. So that for me is the Nigeria that I want to see, where citizens are empowered enough to be able to take responsibility and accountability. Because I think that those two things are critical if we want to, deliver the best life to Nigerians. Nigerians deserve to live our best lives at home. And so, yeah, that for me. We deserve to live our best lives. We deserve to go on road trips without feeling like,
without feeling like, I'm going to be called soon to attend to a mail or something.
All right, this conversation, honestly, like I love it, right? I don't think have I been in a conversation with two people like on the podcast, but like it's so I love the back and forth and how you guys like just balance yourselves, just naturally at the end of the day. So we thank you also like for joining. Thank you guys for like contributing, and good luck for Sophie. Good luck in your 16 manager relationship, 16 floor manager relationship, and but Chiamaka, right, in the streets of Twitter. Good luck.
I don't write, so nobody is attacking me. I'm fine, right? And I say,
no, but one day,
Twitter. It's like the whole nation is dragging you.
for people like Chiamaka, she writes once. It will last for 5 years. Like people can come back.
Yeah. People literally go and look for people's tweets of 5-10 years back just to prove a point.
Like parable. People can refer to it again and again. But okay. Thank you guys for this conversation. Thank you everyone that listened to this conversation. And go and check out how can people reach out to you if they want to do that, Sophia and Chiamaka.
You can find me on LinkedIn, same name.
Okay. And Sophia.
Yeah, you can also find me on LinkedIn, same name, Ijeoma Sophia Okeke.
All right. Chiamaka, sorry, you were saying something before.
Yes, I was just saying same name, Chiamaka Chinwendu. You'll find me on LinkedIn.
All right, perfect. So for anybody interested, that's their information to get into contact with them. Well, thank you guys for joining, and thank you everybody for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy.